Can the driver in the front of this shot, can our race leader, Jelmer Berman, win for Black Falcon Motorsport? Ooh, tail getting quite loose there.
Come the leaders, it's nose to tail as they come out onto the Dottinger Hoa, Bruce. And that's again,
has Nicky Katzberg gone too soon? Jelmer Berman weaving around to try and break the toe, but the toe has been received gratefully from the Rowe Racing BMW, and he's now tucked not quite under the rear wing, but it's only about a second down as they continue their undulations along the long straight. Now it's half a second between the pair.
The problem is, and Murray Walker used to say in his inimitable fashion, cashing is one thing, getting past is quite another. And the real place, if you want to get past somebody who doesn't want to get past, you have to do it on the Grand Prix loop. Once you get out onto the Nordschleife, Jelmer Berman has enough experience to be able to hold Nicky Katzberg behind him, I reckon. So this is it for Nicky Katzberg. Even though they're coming across the line now with a whole lap to go, he has to do it in the next 3.5 kilometres.
Well, now Robin Frieds is having a go. Almost found a face full of grass. He tried to go around the outside of Dominic Baumann just before the final twisters at Tiergarten and then the Bremskurve, but got very close indeed, and shows he's not beaten yet. He's certainly not backing off at all.
So Mercedes feeling the pressure, aren't they? Because we've got a BMW crawling all over the back of one Mercedes and an Audi crawling over the back of another Mercedes. One of them is a Black Falcon Mercedes, the other one is the HTP Motorsport car. Jeff Westphal is there in 5th place with the SCG 003C Glickenhaus.
By the time you said that, the Aston Martin had gone through as well, which is Nicky Team right behind, half a second down in 6th place. So 3 pairs of cars going around the final moments of this race. But when you say the final moments and you've got a 25-kilometre lap, that is plenty of space to go racing. Where will the back runners be sitting? There's one right in front of the 3rd place, Dominic Baumann. Mercedes around the outside, also taking the long line around the outside. The 4th place Audi, that desperate to get back into 3rd. Robin Frieds at the wheel for Team WRT, at backmarking BMW, and then comes Jeff Westphal still holding off Nicky Team in the Aston Martin Vantage in 5th and 6th places. But the fact that these 4 cars are covered by about 5 seconds as they go on to the final lap of the race just shows how close it is in this qualifying race for next month's Nürburgring 24 Hours. The 12th and 13th of May is when the big show comes to town. But this isn't a bad little show as a warm-up act.
Another little change down in 11th and 12th places. Steph Dusseldorp has gone past Georg Weiss at the wheel of the Bockenspiegel Ferrari. That's for 11th place. So the number 33 BMW, the Falcon tired BMW, is up into 11th ahead of the 22 Ferrari. And then in 13th place is the Ficcardelli Porsche number 30 with Klaus Abelin behind the wheel of that car.
Just having a little look down the classes. We've been talking about the GT4 class, known here as SP10. That's relatively close. It's still Jörg Wiebahn leading the way in the Phoenix Audi. He had an advantage of 15 seconds over the 74 BMW that had been in the lead of the class at some points for Falkenhorst Motorsport. Nicholas Polar at the wheel at the moment, giving chase.
And in SP8, number 69, the Mark Basseng Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo is leading the class there. And he does that by half a lap, very nearly. 3.5 minutes is the gap between him and the next car up, which is the Porsche 991 Cup car of Manthey Racing car number 46, currently in the hands of Wieskirchen.
Even if this is a one-lap race, it's an absolutely enthralling battle. The battle we have for 5th place, very, very tight indeed. The battle for 1st and 2nd, the battle for 3rd and 4th in their little pairings, and the 5th place still in the hands of Jeff Westphal. But he's being pushed very hard indeed by Nicky Team. But are they spacing out? Can Dominic Baumann hold on to 3rd place? Can the driver in the front of this shot, can our race leader, Jelmer Berman, win for Black Falcon Motorsport? Ooh, tail getting quite loose there as he's homed in on by the Rowe Racing 99 BMW. It was 1.1 seconds down on the start-finish line. It's held station fairly well, but if a little bit more can be gained and then into the slipstream down the long straight back to the pits, Paul, this is the chance. But he needs to be about half a second closer than he is now.
Exactly. I mean, the way that Jelmer Berman has pulled away on the first part of the Nordschleife, very impressive indeed. If Nicky Katzberg was going to do anything about it, as you say, he has to be a lot closer than that. If he's going to benefit from Berman tripping over one of the back markers. He has to be right on his tail, pushing him into a mistake, because what's going to happen now is there's a sufficient of a gap between the Mercedes and the BMW that back markers, when they do get past, have to make two moves. They have to make one move to get out of the way of the Mercedes, and then they have to make another move to get out of the way of the BMW. What Nicky Katzberg wants is that back markers make one move and one move only, and they both go through together. And Nicky is losing out through this second sector as they turn down there.
Weirdly, though, he gained a few tenths as he went past the back marker. It looks like the back marker was going to count against him, but then he just didn't seem to have any grunt out of about 3 corners later. Now we're riding again with the Audi of Robin Freitz. He's in 4th place, desperate to get back into 3rd. He only lost it at the start of the previous lap. Closed right back up on Dominic Baumann, but has fallen away again. But there's traffic as they drop down over the road bridge. And now he's got a GT4 Mercedes that would be rather nice. Yes, it's gone out of his way. That's fine. Didn't cost him anything at all. Robin Freitz fighting back. So this one's going to go all the way to the checkered flag as well. Who'll get the final place on the podium? Will it be a Mercedes crew? Will it be an Audi crew? Advantage Mercedes at the moment, as it is at the front of the race.
Yes, indeed. So the Mercedes coming under pressure, but thus far withstanding the pressure from the BMW for the lead of the race and from the Audi for the final place on the podium. But I don't know. I think Nicky Katzberg's only chance is to try and do something down the Dottinger Höhe, but the problem is you've got to get past on the Dottinger Höhe, and because going through the final couple of corners at Tiergarten and Bremskurve, it's just not possible to do it.
You never ever wish for your rival to have a little bit of misfortune, but a car with a driver in one of the junior classes who's just not paying attention, of course they're all paying attention, he needs one of those to wander into the path at the wrong place for race leader Jelmer Berman. Jelmer's been very positive in picking them off, though.
Absolutely, and I think Nicky Katzberg is going to end up being quite happy with 2nd place out of this. They withdrew one of the cars halfway, or not even halfway, after the first hour and a half of the race. The other car, Rowe Racing, has kept going and has been run very rapidly indeed. They know they got the pace, and Nicky Katzberg ending up on a bit on the grass there. The Mustang just wandered into his path. Never mind about anybody wandering into the path of Jelmer Berman. It was Nicky Katzberg whose path was being wandered into, and he's got all the work to do, but still half a lap to go.
Well, the order was somewhat jumbled with a wet, drying track during the course of qualifying this morning. The number 5 Mercedes leading the race started from 5th, but the number 99 car that's giving chase was outside the top 10, so it has been a good advance, and particularly in the first hour and a bit of the race when we had cars running nose to tail just around the tail end of the top 10, it was very, very hard to make progress. Jelmer Berman very quickly got up into 3rd place, so he gained the advantage in the early section of the race, while the 99 crew but Martin Tomczyk and the driver at the wheel now, Nicky Katzberg, had to fight so hard for every millimetre they could gain and every place they could pick off.
In 3rd place, Robin Freitz dropping away a little bit from Dominic Baumann in the number 47 HTP made Mercedes. So continues to be, as the time has clicked down. 6 hours are up. In fact, 6 hours and 4 minutes since we started this race, but we've got the final lap still to complete. And I suspect the way the Mercedes are going, they're going to make this a 1-3, sandwiching Nicky Katzberg's BMW on the podium. But coming out on towards the Dottinger Höhe for the final time, the BMW, I don't think he's close enough, Bruce.
He's not. The traffic, oh well, the traffic's finally wandered into his path. I thought there's finally a couple of cars. They might delay the race leader, but they didn't, and if anything, he's gained. So down the final time past Dottinger Höhe, past all the motorsport factory and team bases to drivers left as they come down that final straight. The gap is about 3 seconds or so to the good if you're Black Falcon Motorsport, to the bad, if you will, for Rowe Racing. But a real chase from the 99 crew. They weren't really in it in the early stage of the race, but as I said, started outside the top 10, had to fight so hard, particularly with the Manthey Racing 912 Porsche.
And it all came about because of the fuel, the way they ran the fuel and ran that extra lap, got their final pit stop that little bit shorter towards the end of the race. But it wasn't enough. It was a good call. Wasn't enough, though. Black Falcon serving notice of their intentions very clearly indeed for the Nürburgring 24 hours next month.
Change of position. We've just had the Glickenhaus, the SCG, go up into 4th place. A wonderful drag past the Audi. I couldn't see the Audi for a second. There it is, 1st and 2nd crossing the finish line. Black Falcon Motorsport Mercedes. 2nd place, Rowe Racing BMW. Who's in the background next? It should be the 47 HTP Motorsport. Mercedes, there it comes into the final sequence of corners. Then there's a little bit of a gap, and then the Glickenhaus, the SCG at the wheel. Jeff Westphal gaining 4th place on the final lap, going past the Audi. He'll be delighted. Robin Freitz will be absolutely livid, having lost the place. And the Aston Martin tucked in behind, I think, in 6th place, waiting for clarification of how they crossed the finish line, and I believe that was the case. But victory to Jelmer Berman, Thomas Jaeger and Jan Seyfarth for Black Falcon Motorsport.